everybody.
Hi, everyone.
We're doing it from a different shot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Justin doesn't like being in our videos, so I'm trying to accommodate him not being in them. So
Yes.
we're going to try it this way. I mean, it's a little different, but not only that, it doesn't give a glare from outside.
Yeah.
So that helps a little bit. So you'll probably get more kitty time from that one.
Yeah.
So this is obviously part 2
Of Ed Gein.
And
we're going to do part 3 here pretty soon because we watched Psycho and Silence of the Lambs, and we're going to give our reviews of them
in the next one.
Because she has some opinions.
I have a lot of opinions.
Also, make sure you grab your puke buckets. This one's going to be nasty and gory and terrible and awful. And I mean that in all regards.
Sense of the word.
I will bring up a fun little thing that I found out while I was doing research.
Mm-hmm.
So where we last left off was Bernice Warden was missing.
Right.
Ed Gein they had suspected that Ed Gein, her son, was like, Ed took her.
Yeah.
And remember, another woman had gone missing. And when people were talking about her, Ed would say, oh, she's at the farm. So everyone's a little like suspicious of Ed, but also like, it's Ed. Ed's gonna be Ed.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But police go to question him, and the first thing he says is, I was framed. So police then go, you know what, we're going to search his property. And they find his house is a mess. Windows are dusty, windows are terrible. And when I ended the video saying that the police officer, one of the police officers was in the room, felt he had bumped into something behind him.
Right.
And he shone the light on a white body of a woman hanging upside down from the ceiling.
Right, I remember that.
So, we're going to start from there. So, Schechter, somebody who wrote a book on Ed Gein, wrote that the body was hanging upside down by its feet.
Okay.
Its front had been sliced open completely,
mm-hmm.
so that its trunk, the abdomen area,
right,
was a dark gaping hole.
Oh, okay.
The carcass had been decapitated, and it was as though someone had sliced off the head as a trophy.
Oh, well, okay.
The body had also been butchered very similarly to that of a deer.
Okay.
Horrified by what he was seeing, he realized also at the same time when he's looking at this like decapitated head, the body of the lady, it dawns on him that it's Bernice.
Okay.
And this officer knew Bernice. Everyone knew Bernice because she was the owner of the shop.
Okay.
This store that everyone went to. And he's traumatized by this. He's freaked out. He stumbles out of the building and he drops to his knees and begins vomiting. Because he'd never seen anything like that before. A moment later, the captain followed, equally horrified, and I do believe he also threw up.
Oh, wow.
As they radioed the station to report what they had seen and to secure it, inside was a lot worse than what they thought. He had no electricity, so they were simply going by flashlight sight.
Right.
They could only see what they could see from their flashlight. So what they did not see was a lot of stuff. They did not see that Bernice's headless body was hanging from her ankles in a crudely made crossbar secured to the ceiling, strung up as one would butcher an animal. And so other officers are like, we're going to go ahead. We're going to prepare to do a search of the house. And the state troopers and men from the county crime lab were also notified. And so they were like, you know what? We're going to get ready to search this house. The county police of Plainsville was like, we can't handle this on their own.
Yeah.
So they called the state police. They called other police departments. And they were like, something horrible is happening in this town. I need multiple assistance because we don't know what's going on. They also called the state crime lab and the county crime lab because they were like, what we just saw was so horrible. I don't know if our county crime lab could handle what we just saw. A lot of the officers that were sent from other departments were seasoned professionals, and they had seen something. Chitaru.
Stop trying to electrocute yourself, stupid. Love you. Stop being a ding dong.
Um, a lot of them were prepared. Come here. Come here.
She wants to play with the cats.
Oh.
She sees Marie.
So a lot of
Don't you do it. Really?
So a lot of these officers were seasoned professionals. They had seen a lot of things in their time. And so they went in with flashlights and kerosene lamps to continue to explore because it was nighttime. They found the interior worse than what they thought. It was covered in debris boxes, empty bottles, old newspapers, magazines, a moldy magazine, and there were things that were just strange in the home. There was a coffee can full of old chewing gum.
Ugh, that's gross.
Um, there was a shelf
fine.
that had a bunch of yellow and cracked dentures, and then a sink full of sand.
Okay.
And remember, he's in Wisconsin.
Or, I mean,
He
okay.
never explained these things. And he was like, "Yeah, that's just my sink of sand." Never gave an explanation as to why he had
A sink of sand.
a sink of sand. So they stumbled on these weird things, but they had yet to stumble onto the things of nightmares. A lot of these things completely traumatized these officers.
Oh, I bet.
And what I really feel bad is this was also the time period where you didn't go to doctors, you didn't go to psychologists.
Which
These people should have go to psychologists after what they saw.
Yeah. I mean, even watching the two movies that I did watch,
Mm-hmm.
Silence of the Lambs and Psycho, even then, even an FBI agent, no matter what you're doing, whether you're FBI, you're just city police, county police, state police, anything like that, everybody that works in being a police officer, any type of law enforcement should go to a psychologist no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and my brother-in-law's probably seen a lot of things that he's had to talk to somebody about because their job's not easy. People think it is. It's not.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we've heard some stories from friends that John and I know that that they've dealt with and stuff. So being a police officer or any type of law enforcement ain't easy. And if things like that,
Yeah, this is
no, you need to see someone.
yeah, they had not stumbled on the bad stuff. So that's weird stuff.
Yeah.
That's not the bad stuff. They swept their lights around the room and they spotted an odd soup bowl. And they realized it was the sawed off top part of a skull. He was using the skull cap as a bowl.
Okay.
It was his favorite bowl.
Kind of starting to sound like the bone collector.
He would eat out of it, and yeah, it was his favorite bowl.
We're not with Indiana Jones, okay?
As they were searching, they started finding ghoulish things scattered around his house. In the kitchen, they found other skull caps being used as bowls. And they found several complete skeletons in his house, including two that had been stuck to his bedposts as decorations.
Ow. Okay.
They found 5 human heads wrapped in plastic bags,
Okay.
9 death masks made of human skinned heads,
Okay, now I can see where Science of the Lambs coming. Oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre's coming in.
drums made of human skin and bone,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
several bracelets and belts made out of skin and hair,
Okay.
most notably the nipple belt.
That just no. I don't like that.
Which I'm gonna get to the fun little fact. You can buy a replica of it.
Let's
People
not.
make replicas of it
Let's not.
and sell it on Etsy for like $200.
You're stupid. No.
It's to me, that's like the people who John Wayne Gacy, a famous serial killer. He started painting when he was in prison,
Mm.
and he painted clowns in prison.
I hate clowns.
Those go for sale. People will
Well,
buy
yeah,
those
because he's a famous dude.
He's
a famous killer. He's a famous
He's
serial
a
killer.
famous, but they want the John Wayne Gacy clown paintings.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't like clowns.
apparently there is actually quite a market for serial killer memorabilia.
You guys are so stupid.
No,
sorry.
I'm not.
I
I'm
can't,
not.
I'm not laughing at that there's not, and I don't believe you. But come on, you really want a replica of a nipple belt?
Now
I agree with
Hermione is
Hermione. That's a little disturbing.
the True Crime Collective right here.
Uh-huh.
All things murder, killer, cults, and memorabilia. They
We have the
have
FBI
the
at our house.
Murderbilia. You can shop the collection.
No thanks.
Collectibles.
True Crime Collective. Okay, that's actually pretty cool.
They have
If you were to
personally.
see what she just showed me, that's pretty cool.
They have a John Wayne Gacy Hi Ho in the Winter painting for $10,000.
Is that
It was sold out.
Is that the Seven Dwarfs?
Yeah.
Did you get the rights from Disney to do that, sir?
Charles Manson's personally owned copy of Helter Skelter.
What? What?
If you,
What do you want?
Hermione's making an appearance.
What do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want? No, don't jump on me. What do you want? You want outside? Do you need to go outside? Let's go. Come on. Is your boyfriend over there?
I think it might be her boyfriend.
Is your boyfriend over there? We have a neighbor. We have a new neighbor.
And
They
have
have a dog.
They have a male dog, and Hermione seems to be.
She has a little boyfriend, and she goes running around the yard.
She has a little crush.
She got a little crush.
The
crush is gonna dash in 5 months.
Personal copy owned by Charles Manson of Helter Skelter, which, by the way, is a book that basically wants a race war. Talks about having a race war. Is $5,000.
Let me shut out a brick.
They have an H.H. Holmes newspaper for $1,500.
I think I have a book of H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, H.H. Holmes is one of those. He's one of those ones that are super interesting. I think you will really enjoy.
The name Holmes just intrigues me.
John Wayne Gacy.
So that means we're going to be doing an H.H. Holmes later.
It's going to be a 4-parter, 5-parter.
That's fine by me.
Is a signed 2-page letter is $400. Sorry. Yeah, so they have collectibles. People buy this stuff. They like collect serial killer memorabilia. Here's more. Gary Ridgway. Green River Killer. That is who Gary Ridgway is. He's a Green River Killer. Dennis Radar, the BTK killer.
And if anybody doesn't know what that means, bind, tie, and kill.
Dennis Rader, prison ID card.
If I said that right.
$15,000.
Bind, torture, kill. I'm sorry, I did say
he
that.
Originally wanted it to be called. He wanted originally to be called BTS, bind, torture, strangle. But the media was like, that doesn't flow.
Yeah.
So they changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they have letters from him that you can buy.
No thanks.
An Easter card.
Why the fuck do you want an Easter card?
From Dennis Rader.
No, thank you.
So yeah, that's a fun little fact. If none of you knew,
especially not for $1,500. You all are nuts. What is wrong with you?
So,
go get checked out.
In case you did not know, yes, memorabilia for serial killers is actually a very, very, very elusive and, I guess, money-making thing.
Okay, I don't know if I have a favorite serial killer. I don't think I have a favorite serial killer. I have like horror flick people that I like. Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Pinhead, Chucky. Those are all right, but I don't think I have a favorite serial killer. I think so far I have not found one that has intrigued me enough. Okay, like H.H. Holmes. Never heard of the guy, but I think I have a book of his. I might be wrong. It might be something else, because I also do like Sherlock Holmes, which is a fictional character. But at the same time, I don't think I have a favorite.
It feels weird to me to be owning something of a serial killer.
Do you know how much bad juju
because
that would
of
be?
the bad juju, but also because that's almost in a way idolizing them and making them this. I want to know more about serial killers because serial killers are like
off their rocker nuts.
They're
Not
off
all
their
there.
rocker, and I want to understand their thought process.
I don't.
I have never wanted to own something from a serial killer.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I joke that my favorite serial killer is Kemper because of how weird his case was.
Right.
The fact he reported himself to the police.
Yeah.
The fact that
Don't step on the keyboard, please.
all of this other stuff, right? That
Yeah.
about him, but never have I once wanted to own something by him.
I can't do that.
I could
Didn't because I know
never.
Manson
Because
had girlfriends, like women that liked him
yeah.
and wanted to marry him.
Oh well,
Ted, you women are nuts.
you will actually find that there are a type of women that want to date serial killers. So there
No
are
thanks.
they want to date and marry serial killers, and they will, once somebody is arrested and tried as a serial killer, they will start sending them love letters.
No thanks. I will
Yeah.
send you hate mail.
Yeah. I will
No
say
address.
I will say they
Oh, do
actually
you need food and water? Is that what you're? Okay, I think that's what she's whining about. She don't have much food in her bowl. Did we feed her this morning?
I fed her this morning.
All right, ma'am, you ain't getting a full-on cup. Come on. Sorry.
You got fed this morning. Did you eat all your food?
No, she has some in there, but not a lot. I just filled the hole.
Are you starting to do what the cats do when there's a hole in their food?
I'm getting you fresh water. I'm getting you water. Slow down. Hold your horses, ma'am. Hermione, want your water? Some water? Clean water? Get your clean water. Okay, here, fine. There's your food. God, jeez. She didn't like the fact that I just poured a little bit out of the cup. Okay, you got plenty of food in there, ma'am. You don't need to be fed for the rest of the evening. And you're not getting wet food till tomorrow. So, FYI. Yep, there we go. Okay. Let's get attempt to get comfortable without falling off the couch. Okay.
So there was a study done, and I can't remember the study that was done. And basically, the study said something along the lines of women who like fictional villains, right? They're attracted to fictional villains. The reason they're attracted to them is the idea that the fictional villain, it's like the phrase of he would burn the world for them. He would put them first no matter what. He wouldn't put the world before them. So it's kind of like that. Do they like them because they're villains? No. It's that mindset of he's willing to do what it takes for the person they like, right? That's kind of what they were able to get. Now, when it came to women who found sexual interest in serial killers, they found that most of them had the same thought process as a serial killer, and almost always they wanted almost to be a serial killer, but because of morals of like society, they didn't. So they have an attraction. And this is just one study. I'm not saying all women who are sexually attracted to serial killers are wanting to be serial killers. This was one study of a couple of people. And in the study they said that they have very similar mindsets, but because of society, they don't become serial killers. They instead become sexually attracted to them because they do what they cannot.
I'm just going to say you're nuts.
Yeah.
I think there you have something rooted deeply.
You want to see the replica of the nipple belt?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't need to see body parts.
Yeah. So
I don't get the aspect of like I'm okay with blood and gore. I'm okay with that. You showed me a photo. That did not bother me at all. Now, if I was in person in that time, I'd probably with the cops on the outset throwing up because that would be way, not a little too much. It'd be way too much.
I think also at the same time we're kind of desensitized, right?
Yeah.
We as a society have been watching horror movies that have been getting bloodier and bloodier and gorier and gorier.
Yep.
So I think now when we see something happen, or we see a dead body, or we see photos, we're kind of like, oh, okay, because our mind has been rewired, right?
Yeah.
It no longer affects us. And you have to remember, this was in the 40s, this was in the 30s.
Yeah.
They did not have that. We've watched Psycho from the 1950s, and we have some thoughts on that.
I don't know how many times I laughed.
Yeah,
But
because
let me tell you, and I will give you a little piece of it. So the one scene, you know, the famous
yeah.
crap. Okay. The only creepy part about it was, spoiler alert, if you've never seen the movie, one, don't waste your time. Willow, no, is when she's flopped over the edge of the tub. I will thump your ear. No. And the fear on her face.
Mhm.
That's creepy.
I will.
That to me is like,
And we were
mm,
laughing at that because
it,
we were sitting there and we're like, he's not even connecting.
no.
Like you could see but back in the when that movie was released, that part of the movie is what triggered people to go into labor, caused people to
Women
throw up,
yep.
because that was never thought of. That watching it, that was so awful to them. And now we see it and we go, that's funny.
Yeah. Like I can handle blood and gore. It's people throwing up, people vomiting. I
Yeah.
can't do. If it's a child, nah, the child. But the older I've gotten, I cannot handle watching a movie where somebody's going to be sick.
Yeah.
I have to be like, all right, I'm gonna go bathroom, or John will mute it so I don't have to hear it. I mean, I love that guy. He will make sure that if it's something that I don't like, he will do what he can to make it not be there in a sense, but he'll mute it if somebody's going to be sick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Or when I'm trying to get over my fear of Freddy Krueger,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying so hard, and it's, y'all need to understand. Even if I meet the man in person, that's not going to make a difference for me because I know he's not real. I know this. I know this. It is literally the sound of his voice
Mm-hmm.
that does it for me. So if we wanted to watch Nightmare on Elm, okay, we're going to be having, you know, closed caption and it muted. I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to at least start it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because since my stepmom had scared me so bad, I started having nightmares. And of him playing be standing at the end of my bed by my bedroom doorway, flipping a light switch on and off. I can handle a lot of things. But when it's stuff like this, you know, I think the only one that really did get me was the Blackout River.
You have not heard anything yet. I'm not.
Oh yeah, we're
done.
also rating these, by the way. Just so you all have a heads up. I haven't made the poster board. Damn it. I gotta make the poster board. But I'm rating each case.
We are also not done yet, I will say, with what they found in that house.
Yeah, okay, let's find out what they found. Let's find out what they found.
Sorry, we went on a little tangent. So,
Which happens.
not only did they find the nipple belt, they found the preserved female organs, the genitalia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He had skinned them off.
Okay.
They were searching through his house and it's dark, and so they're like, we need light. We can barely search with our flashlight with kerosene lamps. So they actually got a huge generator and some lights brought in so they could shine lights on the house,
Okay.
in the house. They could actually finally see.
They were probably going, turn them off, turn them off.
And it made it worse.
So I was like, turn it off, turn it off.
He had made lampshades of human skin.
Okay.
In one drawer, they found 9 shriveled vulvas.
Okay.
One had been painted silver and trimmed with red ribbon, and the other was covered in salt.
Was he going to put that on the Christmas tree?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't want to know, but
There was also a jar full of noses.
Okay.
And a old Quaker Oats container with various pieces of human head and face skin.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Some of the things that he had made was made to be worn.
Okay.
There were pants and leggings made of human skin, as well as a garment made from the upper torso of a middle aged woman, which could be donned like a vest.
Oh my God.
hmm the most disturbing to police were the 9 human masks, which appeared to have been carefully removed from the skull and left on display. They were dried and mummified, and it looked as if he tried to keep them fresh by rubbing oil on them.
Okay.
He
It's like, dude,
also,
the cells are dead. Once the person's dead, the cells kind of die.
well, some of them still had lipstick and makeup on.
Okay.
Yeah, so when he skinned the face, he was very careful.
Articulate.
Yeah. They were dried and mummified, and others looked like so rubbing oil. He had cut eye holes out in these face masks so he could, if he put them on his face, he could.
When I
Anthony
understand that.
Hopkins.
No, I understand that part.
Uh-huh.
But there are never mind.
Um, yeah. Arnie Fritz, a police officer, found a large moth-eaten robe hanging on the back of the door, and he found a brown bag with something in it. And as he pulled out what was in the bag, uh, he saw what looked
He
like
was
a.
wearing gloves when they did this.
I don't think they were.
Yeah.
They were looked like a
Excuse
mass
me.
of hair connected to skin, and he continued to pull it out of the bag,
God.
and it was a decapitated head of Mary Hogan.
Oh, well, they found her.
Yeah.
Wow.
The police were just going room to room, and they were finding infinite amounts of human bones, macabre trophies. They had begun taking shifts of going through and searching the
They
home.
probably didn't sleep. I wouldn't be able to
It
sleep.
took, I think later on I say it took like 3 weeks for them to process the home.
Cheese and crackers.
When they find they started taking the shifts, and then they found this boarded up room on the first floor.
That was Mama's room,
Yeah,
right?
and they opened it and they realized it was Augusta's room, and they said it felt like a portal.
Because it
Be-
was so pristine and
because
what kept up.
yeah, the home was a nightmare, and then her parlor and bedroom were completely in pristine conditions.
Wow.
There was just a thick layer of dust covering
Hence,
everything.
Psycho.
It was the first time since her death that anyone had been in the room.
Wow.
Um,
And now they had him, or he was arrested, right?
at this
He's
point,
sitting at the precinct
he's
while this
at the
is going
precinct,
on.
yes.
Okay.
So it was at this point one of the lead criminologists ended up at a workstation and started photographing and cataloging all of the gruesome things found in the house.
I feel sorry for that person.
While the criminologist was taking photos of Bernice because she was still hanging from the ceiling, and he was taking photos of her organs. So her heart was in a plastic bag in front of the stove. Her entrails were wrapped in newspaper and folded inside a new suit. And they then found her whole head, which was put in a burlap sack and was just stuffed between 2 mattresses in the corner of the summer kitchen.
Sorry, I'm laughing. What is wrong? My God. That's the uncomfortable laugh, by the way.
Yeah, apparently he also had 2 mattresses in the kitchen, and he had stuffed the burlap sack in between the 2 mattresses.
Dude, it's like you're trying to hide food from somebody. What in the world?
When they took her head out of the sack, they realized Ed had taken 2 penny nails and bent them into hooks and connected them with 2 feet of length of twine and stuck 1 nail in each of her ears.
Oh my God.
They realized it was so her head could be hung in his bedroom as a trophy or wall ornament, like you would a deer head.
Dude is gone. Wow.
Finally, after 12 hours after Frank had gone to check on his mom,
Yeah.
law enforcement had done its first sweep of the crime scene. There would be more evidence collected later.
Oh, I bet. The way
Uh,
this guy has his whole little human collection going.
so right now, at that moment, sheriffs and deputies wanted to talk to Ed.
No. You have
Uh,
enough.
Ed was taken to the town of Watoma, and when he was looked at in a jail cell in the back of the county courthouse. So the sheriff entered, hoping he would just make a full confession when the sheriff walked in.
Okay.
Truth was, Ed hadn't said much of anything since he was arrested. Still, Shilly, the officer, the sheriff, was still traumatized by what he had seen. So he walked into the jail cell, grabbed Ed, and started slamming him against the concrete wall. and the
Jeez.
deputies had to separate the two, and they ended up doing so before any real damage was done. This made him go quieter, and he wouldn't talk after that.
Oh, way to go, Sheriff.
The coroner, Dr. F. Eggenberger, began his examination of Bernice's body, and
Okay.
he was detailed.
Oh, wow.
There was considerable mutilation done to her body post mortem, and it had been done methodically with a lot of precision. The first thing he noticed was that the entirety of Bernice's vulva was removed and kept in a box. Um, the body cavities had been completely eviscerated, with most of the diaphragm inspection of the trunk and extremities revealed how the body had been hoisted by the heels. There were deep cuts about the Achilles tendon in the right leg, and a pointed crossbar made of wooden sticks covered by bark had been forced under the tendon on the other side to the crossbar.
Mm.
So that's how he had got her hanging. Was he had literally
Yeah.
shoved a stick behind her Achilles tendon. This cut had actually severed the Achilles tendon and had necessitated the tying with cord to hold the body securely to that crossbar on the ceiling. Um, the length of the crossbar was about 3 feet. Both wrists had been tied with hemp rope to the crossbar, attached to the feet, thus holding the arms firmly to the body.
Mm-hmm.
The thoracic and abdominal viscera had been serrated and wrapped in newspaper and hidden in a bundle of old clothing.
Mm.
So those are things he had removed and then wrapped in things and
Put somewhere else.
tucked somewhere else. So these viscera consisted of lungs and trachea,
Okay.
and also some of the aorta. From the base of the abdominal bifurcations, the esophagus, stomach, small intestines with mesentery, and
Yeah.
with some of it also to the lower rectum, they also found removed. He had removed the spleen, the pancreas, the adrenal glands, the
He
kidney.
just did a total anatomy flip on this woman.
Yeah, the uterus, the upper half of the urine bladder, and internal genital organs, and separately removed where the liver and heart was.
Mm.
It was a lot of work that he had done.
Wow.
The medulla oblongata, which is the connection between the brainstem and the spinal cord, appeared to have been ripped out of her neck, and the portion of the spinal cord was never found.
Oh, wow. Hold on.
The most significant findings were to her head. They found a round hole in the back of her head about 6 centimeters above the hairline. Besides the bullet hole and the nails in the ear, there was no damage to the head.
Wow.
The coroner did notice there was blood in both nostrils, and he realized there was no exit wound. And when they looked in her skull, they actually found the bullet lodged in the skull above the right eyeball.
Ooh.
Um, He concluded the gunshot was the cause of death, and it had been fired in close range, and she had likely died within two minutes after
Mm.
being shot.
Oh, wow.
So it was a quick death. Luckily, she did not experience any pain
Thank
when
God.
he cut her open. The coroner's report had no shocking revelations after they had looked at the crime scene, but in the original notes,
Yeah.
the person transcribing the note was the coroner's wife. So the coroner's wife is transcribing what the coroner is saying. And she was his secretary, and she had jotted down her thoughts on the report, with saying things like sex slayer and battered beauty on the back of the notes,
Mm.
in reference to Bernice. Um, Schlechter said these were reminiscent of tabloid headlines. So it's like his wife was making tabloid headlines about what was going to be said about
Oh, okay.
um,
What they were going to put out in
what they were going to
public.
put in public. And this was going to be telling because her attempts to make the catchphrase was kind of the kind of treatment that Gein was going to get from the press.
I mean, she's not wrong if you think about it.
Yeah.
She's not. I mean, I don't think she is Tataru. I don't think she's doing it just to like give them the ideas, but she's already putting in process of these are the things that they're going to say.
Yeah, this is the things they're going to say, and she was ahead of the media. These were things that the media wrote down about Gein.
Yeah.
She just wrote it first.
Mm-hmm.
Now, given the number of police officers and the farm, and some as far away as some of the officers were as far from as Chicago. Like those were
How
Chicago
far they
officers.
reached out to come
Yeah,
out.
and Chicago officers were there in this house. The local residents of Plainsville knew something had happened in that house.
Oh,
Now, they
yeah.
did not know the extent because,
Which is a good thing.
yes, which is a good thing, but also, I am proud of these officers. How many times in the 40s, in the 30s, do we hear the police are so loose-lipped in releasing everything?
With the past few cases that we've
Yes.
had, the cops were like, "Hey, let me tell you what happened," and or what do? They let the freaking, I'm gonna call them paparazzi because that's pretty much what they are, going into the house with no booties, which back then they didn't have that stuff. I get
Mhm.
it, but no protective wear for going into the house, and they just demolished, not demolished. What's the word I'm looking? Contaminated any evidence that they could have got.
Mhm.
So it's like hearing some cops be like, "Hey, the fuck back,
We're
stay
gonna.
away."
This is
Nope,
from what I
closed off.
understood. They actually, I think I go later
Caution tape.
more in depth. They actually do like a pole patrol, so nobody can go near the property.
Good.
I think they also they block it off. But this is really nice
And
for
they
me to
had to have
hear.
had a cop sit there so people can't get
Yeah.
there either.
Um, so residents knew something massive had happened, but no details yet. When the first news released, this was all that was released. It was released on November 17th. That was saying that Bernice Warden had been abducted and she had been murdered, and her body was found on the Gein property. There was no mention of the state of her remains or any of the things that were in the house.
Good.
So they had managed to keep it tight lipped. They were like, no, this can come out later, but we will not talk about it now because
Right.
then it's going to cause massive panic.
Yeah.
Especially because remember, I talked about it. There was a bunch of people going missing, not in Plainsville, but around Plainsville at
Hmm.
the time.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of people who are going to be like, oh my gosh, he killed my
Yeah.
daughter. He killed my brother. Something like
It's going to cost
that.
them
Yes.
to come out of the woodworks and be like, "Wait, did you find this person?" I mean, who knows? The people, the skeletons and stuff like that. It could be the people
Hmm.
that were killed, but you can't identify bones unless it's through like the dental records. But even then, they didn't have. I don't think they had back in the 40s and stuff like that the dental records, or and if they
Yeah,
did,
they didn't.
you have to like dig it out.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, back in that time, it's just one of those you got to accept it and just go on.
Yeah. So once the details were eventually released, the residents of Plainfield and the entire state of Wisconsin
Mm.
was horrified.
Well, I bet.
Because remember, this is like the first big case that we see in like the modern era where, yes, there were killings, but they almost always happened in the victim's home or they happened on the street.
Yeah.
This is the first time you're seeing someone bringing somebody into their home and killing them. This is the first time it's your neighbor
Hmm.
is now your neighbor's a monster. It's the beginning of that whole anyone can be this way.
Yeah, and the whole fact that you're like, my neighbor did all this. Honey, we're moving.
Or the oh well we're gonna see here a lot of people are like, oh Ed could never. I knew Ed. Ed
He's such a good kid. He did a lot.
exactly.
Oh, he did a lot, all right. A lot of redecorating.
So they started calling the home a murder factory and a den of death.
Sounds right.
The rumors were rampant, and of course, people made the horribleness of the case even more horrific.
Hmm.
In their first press conference, this is this is where they start doing the old timey stuff with the case. um, in the first press conference, Shara County DA fielded questions from the press, and they did have a lot to say when it came to motive. They were like, he's deeply disturbed, but remember, he's not talking, so they're not getting anything from him. So they're just like,
What gave you the clue of
he's
deeply
just deeply
disturbed?
disturbed. They were able to match the fingerprints on the rifle that Ed used to shoot Bernice. And they said he shot her from behind as she looked out the window.
Right.
DA Earl Kylene told reporters he had been present for Ed's interrogation and he offered a little bit of insight on Gein's psychology from his point of view. Remember, this guy, though, is a lawyer,
Hmm.
not a psychologist, so
Yeah.
probably not going to be really good when it comes to making a little profile. But he said that Ed said that he was in a dazed state when he butchered Miss Warden, similar to the blackout that occurred when he robbed Graves. He said he only remembered dragging her body from the store, and during the initial interrogation, he admitted it was possible he killed others. So remember how he kind of stayed quiet?
Mhm.
I guess in that first interrogation, he admitted it was possible he killed others.
Yeah.
He said he was in a daze when he killed, that he was like, it was like a blackout for him.
It's the psycho
Yeah.
there coming through.
And then he dropped another weird bomb, and he found that the additional human remains were things he had collected from cemeteries.
Okay.
And he admitted that for the last 5 years, he had been making nighttime visits to local cemeteries, and he had been
Grave
robbing
robbing.
their graves. But sometimes he didn't rob their graves, he just went to the cemetery.
Okay.
Sometimes he would just go, but more often than not, he would rob graves and leave whatever he didn't want. And he would leave them better than he found them.
How is that possible?
Now, Ed admitted he didn't like to open graves willy nilly.
Mm.
Because why would he open graves willy
Why?
nilly?
Why would you do that? I mean, you got to
Uh,
pick them out. And you got to make sure it's the right one.
so he would read recent obituaries and he would find the bodies of newly dead middle aged women like Mama Augusta. That's a quote.
Okay.
Many of these women he did interact with when they were alive.
So he knew them.
Yeah, and now he was using their skull caps as bowls and skins as lampshades.
You want to come over and have some spaghetti? I got a new bowl. That's the kind of person that I picture this man to be. Bringing you over, having dinner, and you're eating out of a bowl, and then you're like, "Hey, it's pretty cool, different looking bowl. Where'd you get this? Oh, it's my mama's brain. Where my mama's brain used to sit." You're like, "Okay, I'm gonna go now." That's the type. That's the type of person I'm getting
But
from this
remember, the
man.
kid said that. Oh, I don't think I got to the kid. Remember how he had a friend?
Yeah.
Let me get to what his kid friend saw.
Okay.
So when they were interviewing him, they asked, "Did you intend to eat your murdered victims?" And he was like, "No." And Kylene said he had a lapse in memory. So he's like, "No, I don't think so." And then they pushed, and then he stopped answering, and they took it as, "I don't remember." So this is now when you're getting into that idea that Ed Gein was a cannibal. Now, Ed Gein never, ever openly admitted to being a cannibal,
Yeah.
never admitted to eating human flesh. There is still a lot of talk that he ate human flesh.
And there's Hannibal Lecter that comes into play.
Yeah. So, um, it is still unknown. It's just widely assumed. Kylene went in front of reporters and was like, "It appears to be cannibalism." My guy, it does not. It is unknown why he said that, and as news went through Plainsville, the people struggled to get through that thought process. That Eddie, that babysat kids and fixed roofs,
Yeah.
was a murderer and a cannibal.
And the fact that I just had him babysit my kid, he could have ate my child. There's
With
gonna be a lot of negative going through
yeah,
the brain.
with not only that, but with the horrific things in their house. So they're like, he's a cannibal. He has all this horrific stuff in his house. He babysit my kid last Tuesday.
We were so close to losing our kids.
There was an editorial published days after the news broke, and it was Ed Matrola and the Plainsfield Sun who stated he wouldn't believe the rumors of grave robbing until those graves had been opened and found empty. He said people are still stunned by the greater crime of killing Miss Warden to think much about the grave robbing. He also noted people were relieved about the arrest because they had been jittery since the disappearance of Mary Hogan. After his confession took place with Ed, a gaggle of report. After his confession, so eventually he does confess to
Right.
killing. Police took Ed with a gaggle of reporters to the farm and gave a step by step of everything, where he disemboweled his victims, where he had thrown the blood out behind the outhouse, and everyone's like, it's weird because he's like a country dude with a deer hunting cap on. And they were walking him around, and everyone's like, it's just weird. And it was almost impossible to believe that such a meek looking fellow was by his own admission and in the strict sense of the term a ghoul.
Yeah.
People were like, this is so weird because he is not the person you would assume is
Yeah.
digging up bodies.
And usually, and what do they always say? It's usually the person you would not assume that's doing it.
So after this, of course, he's murdered at least 2 women that they know of. He's admitted to grave robbing. But I will say, he had those obituaries clipped on his wall
Mhm.
of the bodies he supposedly took. They're going to start looking into the recent abductions in the area.
Mhm.
So, police are like, you know what? Valid connection. Maybe he kidnapped all these people who are missing and he's killed them.
Mhm.
Right? Because you don't just get to cutting open a woman and disemboweling a human, because they're different than a deer,
Mhm.
and have it that precise
Mhm.
without having practice.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
So they start looking. They start looking into the abduction of Evelyn Hartley, the 15-year-old babysitter, because one of the body parts found in her house appear to have been from a younger woman, not a middle-aged woman.
Mm.
And there was also clippings of her disappearance in Ed Gein's house,
Mm.
which is a little weird because again, he keeps the clippings of the obituaries of the people he robs, of the graves he robs, and now they're finding
Older
clips
ones.
of kidnappings in his house as well. Lieutenant Vern Weber of the La Crosse PD was like, there were shoes found at the crime scene. They were size 11, but Gein wore an 8, so unless he was flopping around in shoes, he didn't suspect it was him.
Yeah.
But there was also a jacket specifically of a painter and a logger that people had seen leaving the house, and he did do that. He
Yeah.
did log, so he did have the jacket.
Mhm.
Sadly, they never connected her case, and they were never able to prove that Ed did it.
Mhm.
Most suspect that Ed did it.
Yeah.
One of the sheriffs spilled some details about what was in the house. So this is now, they're doing searches and finding more stuff in the house. There were 10 women's heads, some with eyes, some without. A few were complete with skulls, and some were just skin. They were found everywhere, behind chairs and furniture, and they were well preserved. Gein told them he had cured them in a brine solution. He also said he saw with his own eyes. The officer also said he saw with his own eyes a chair made of human skin. And according to him, Gein was like, I never ate human flesh. And then he said that when he was younger, he wanted to be a doctor. So the grave robbing was an act of scientific curiosity.
You're okay.
And the sheriff's officer's like, you made a chair of human flesh? You wanted to be a doctor?
Think
Couldn't
that.
imagine being that sheriff's officer.
Yeah. Not only that, I don't.
It was a few days after Miss Warden's body was found that a Plainsfield local came forward and said it was not possible that Ed did this because he was so nice and they had been having a 20-year affair. She claimed that sometimes it felt like she was taking advantage of him.
Oh my God.
She was described in the papers as a severely plain woman with graying bangs and horn-rimmed glasses. She said they went on regular dates weekly for years and shared a love of reading. And she said the relationship ended in 1955 when she turned down his marriage proposal. And she said she turned it down not because there was anything wrong with him, but there was something wrong with me.
Wow.
A couple days later, she switched and said she no longer said he was perfect and came to realize, and it then came to be realized she made it all up. She was never in a 20-year relationship
She
with
just
Ed
wanted a
Gein.
piece of the
Yeah. She said, I never said that, and
public
it was
eye.
made up by the press. Yeah. Then the stories began spinning about him performing necrophilia, cannibalism. They were all unsupported, and they were all speculated.
Wow.
Um, Police were working hard to determine the truth from fiction, and they tried to get what they could from Ed. Now, during his first, and I know I'm jumping around when it comes to like the after, because it is such a chaotic after.
Right.
This is the first time. Now there's a process. Now you split and divide. You interview your person and you have people searching. At this time, they'd never seen this before. So they're like, oh, where do we begin?
Yeah.
So it's a little jumbled because at this time, it's a little jumbled for the police as well.
Yeah.
So, police were working hard to determine the truth from fiction. Now, they tried to get what they could from Ed. During his first interview, he struggled to remember anything. And as the days went on and he was in police custody, he began to talk more.
Mm.
Now, it wasn't like other killers we talked about. It was like, yeah, I did it. And there was like a pride in him admitting it. With Ed, it was like, yeah, I did it. Like it was a normal, everything did that everyone did. There was no emotion to it at all. It was robotic. He referred to it as his collecting.
Yeah.
He confirmed he took bodies from their graves and had various organs and body parts as trophies, and sometimes he would take all the body and sometimes just the parts he wanted at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, none of the police were expecting Gein to have any sort of explanation as to why he took the body and body parts. Now, while they're trying to figure that out, the police asked if he had worn the masks he had made of human skin, and he just replied that, I did.
Like it's nothing.
There was nothing more than just the,
Like
I did.
there's nothing wrong with me wearing a mask.
There's nothing that,
There's nothing wrong with what I did.
did you grave rob? Yeah, I did. I just took what I needed. Sometimes I would take the whole body, and sometimes I would just take what I wanted. It was complete. He thought, he acted it as if it was normal, as if everyone did this.
Mm-hmm. Which
This
they
is
did not.
what was making it so baffling to people.
Hey Ed, no, that's not normal. Nobody just does that.
Sadly, that was not the only part of his thing that he was asked. So he had made an entire skin suit from women's bodies and hair, and he actually admitted that he would often wear the suit.
Okay.
He said on the warmest nights he would wear it while wandering around the inside and outside of the house on his property.
Okay.
He gave little insight into why he might do this, which makes sense. He may not understand it because he thought it was normal, so he may not be like, let me break it down why I'm doing this. He just thinks it's normal.
Yeah.
He pointed to the fantasy books, the ones with sexualized violence, as one of the reasons he may have done it. But I think there has to be other things that
Yeah. They
like
can't
led
just
up to
be.
this. This is not something you read in a book and go, yeah, that sounds right.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, that there's something that,
It doesn't click in his brain. He does not have all cylinders firing.
yeah. This is one of the cases where insanity plea definitely needed.
Yeah. And yeah.
Um,
There is no.
yeah.
There is no. Yeah. There's no words. It's just yeah. Just
So
agreeing with it.
the police are like, this is just weird, and they're asking him all kinds of things. They're like, why are some of the body parts decorated and embellished, and why are some of them covered in salt? And he explained that the salt was
To
was
preserve.
to find a better preserving method, but not the decorating part. While he's willing to talk about the horrible things he did to the bodies that he dug up at the cemetery, he was not really talking about the kidnapping and now murder of Mary Hogan and Bernice Warden.
Mm.
Now he gave a polygraph test where he confessed to killing Hogan and Warden reluctantly, and it was only after it was pointed out to the police had a shit ton of evidence, and there was no way he could say he wasn't guilty. So he was kind of like, he knew killing was wrong, but like the grave stuff, he was like, that's just normal.
Not normal, dude.
So the other crimes like necrophilia and cannibalism, the spokesman for the lab said they had not made a determination as of yet. And the press was told that there was a lot of evidence that had been recovered and it will take weeks and possibly months to evaluate the process.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that.
Based on his responses when asked about the polygraph test about cannibalism and necrophilia, and they also brought up several missing people, and they were fairly confident he didn't have anything to do with those.
Okay.
The polygraph test did not come out that he had done any of those. Which I will say, he does say claims he blacks out and finds himself doing things. Who's to say he blacked out and doesn't remember?
Yeah.
Um, he also claimed the grave robbing and getting trophies from the graves calmed his anxiety about his mom's death and the voices in his head. And then after a few years of doing that, it was no longer sufficient.
Mm.
And that's when he walked into Mary Hogan's bar and was like, she looks like mother." And that's when the thought occurred to him, and he followed her. That she realized she was the opposite of his mom, and just one morning he went and shot
See, and that part right there, the whole thing, mother, it kind of gives me a thing of Friday the 13th.
her. Yeah.
Because if you watch any of those movies, Jason Voorhees does a shrine to his
Aw.
mom, and what's on there? It's her head. So anytime he's seen a woman, that's who he pictured was his mother. And that's where I kind of like on that one, it's not so much Psycho,
Mhm.
it's more Friday the 13th for me when it comes to the
Yeah.
whole mother thing.
So he had went and shot her with a caliber pistol,
Mm.
and after he killed her, he loaded her body into the back of a truck, and he brought her back to the farm, hung her up in the summer kitchen where he mutilated her in the same manner as Bernice Warden.
Mm.
Her death seemed to satisfy the urge for killing until the fall of 1957, when he killed Bernice. With news stories being published, the fascination in the public was growing. And this resulted in guards having to be appointed to the house to keep the public from entering the home and
Jeez.
contaminating the evidence. For 3 weeks, a full time security guard with support from county deputies guarded the property around the clock, and the evacuation of the property finished in early December.
Okay.
So, psychiatrists and medical professionals were itching to get their hands on the man. They wanted to talk to him. Hell, there are psychologists who are like, if I could try and travel, I would talk to Ed Gein. They still want to
Yeah.
talk to him.
Like, what was his thought process? Trying to, and you know what? Is some of these killers are smart because they don't want you to figure out
Hmm.
why they do the things that they do. They want it to remain a mystery, I guess, if you want to put it that way, to where
They're like,
it's like a puzzle.
yeah.
They do this stuff. It's a puzzle. They want you to try and figure it out.
Hmm.
They don't want to tell you it's a puzzle. Figure it out. Learn that in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Lecter and the student that was in training, you know, he's giving her hints, but he's not telling her.
Hmm.
So I can see why. And when we do the third episode, yes, we'll get into more detail of the movies that I watched for the first time ever. And I could see why they base some of these movies around Ed Gein.
Yeah.
Because every bit that you're talking about, it's like, oh, I'm sitting here as you're talking about, it's like Buffalo Bill. He had clippings on his wall, and I'm like, I literally go back to the movie. For those movies, those are a one and done for me.
Hmm.
I won't watch them again. And it's not that I say that they were horrible, okay, but they're a one and done for me because those aren't my cup of tea type of movies.
Yeah.
Mine is the slasher, Jason, all that fun.
Hmm.
But aside the point, I can see where you were saying these literally portray Ed
Heavy
Gein in a
influences of Ed
sense.
Gein.
Yeah, the influences of Ed Gein and his murders and the story of what he
Chainsaw
did.
Massacre.
Yeah. And I was like, all right then. So, but
I
watching
will.
Silence of the Lambs, I kind of see, again, yes, all three of those movies, Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, Chainsaw Massacre, yes, are connections to how he killed. But then I'm also hearing not just Psycho, but a little bit of Friday the 13th in the sense too, because Jason kept his mom's head.
Hmm. That obsession with
In
his mom.
Psycho, he had her whole body. And I laughed so many times during that movie. It, it was stupid. Okay? It was stupid. So, again, more details later to come.
um.
But I get what you were saying that this
Yeah.
kind of
You can
portrays the
see the
stories of Ed
connections.
Gein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So doctors who had never seen Ed decided to diagnose him, which not valid diagnosis. You have to see a patient to diagnose them.
Yeah.
You can hint at it. You can be like, I think it may be this, but you can't like give an official diagnosis. They said he was a sexual psychopath, a schizophrenic, and other terms were used to describe him. And in 1957, most of the public had never
Excuse
heard
me.
of
Sorry.
schizophrenia. They had never heard of being a sexual psychopath. When it came to mental illness, most of the general public didn't know jack.
Apparently.
And so while this is happening, Ed's being arraigned in Washura courthouse for the murder of Bernice Worden. And he was standing for Judge Herbert Bundy. Ed's attorney, William Butler, spoke on Ed's behalf and pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Given the evidence collected at the house, there was nothing else to argue.
Yeah, no.
Judge Buddy accepted the probable cause had been found and waived the preliminary hearing in order that Ed be bound over for trial. The hearing took 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, so basically, the judge goes, "You're right. I'm not gonna," because most of the time, by reason of insanity, they have to have a probable cause hearing. So they have to prove that there's a probable cause that he has is insane and he cannot stand for the
If
trial.
a house full of body parts is not probable cause.
And that's he waived the probable cause hearing. He was like,
I'm like,
"You're good. It's probable cause. You're good."
yeah, I don't need to see the evidence. Just keep going.
That hearing took 3 minutes.
I mean, good Lord, that's the fastest hearing I've heard in these cases.
In the weeks that followed his arrest, information about the murders was released to the public and the items in the home.
Yeah.
Aside from his initial police interview, his answers were mostly, "I don't know. I don't remember." Adams County Sheriff says he hoped that now, since he was under arrest, he would talk more about it. And Ed said, "I have nothing to say about it."
He pretty much, if you think about it, he probably sitting there thinking, I got attention. Look what I did. Everybody's
made
looking at
Mom
me now.
proud.
I made Mom, yeah, definitely. Like, Mama's proud now.
Yeah. So, heads up, this is going to be like the idea where the Texas Chainsaw Massacre came from.
Okay.
Was the original thought. This particular part is where the makers of the movie got their idea. And I think I deleted it on accident.
Munchkin.
So, there was 2 hunters in the woods and they went missing. And it's suspected they went missing near Ed's house. And rumors started circulating that Ed had killed them with a chainsaw. That he had found them with his chainsaw, and then he had proceeded to cut them up with his chainsaw.
Okay.
And the 2 hunters had gone missing. They had never been found. And so people were like, and this rumor began to circulate and spread. And I guess, if I'm not mistaken, the founder, the maker of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, heard that when he was a young boy, and it stuck with him.
Oh, wow.
And then he kind of
drew up from that.
He made a movie based on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ed Gein is kind of like that people
He's
here.
the movie maker.
Yeah. So that's kind of the premise. They get that idea from that. So Ed is like, "I want to speak to a minister." Minister comes.
A little late to confess your sins, son.
Minister comes on November 22nd. His name was Reverend Kenneth Engelman. He was 33 years old. He looked a lot younger. He was a Methodist. Ed was a Lutheran.
Okay.
Might have been a problem. And Ed was pleased to see him. And after he spoke to Reverend Engelman held a press conference. And he told reporters that Gein was a man who needed help.
You're just figuring this out.
And he said they prayed together in Ed's cell, and Ed began sobbing. And he said he was sorry for himself for getting in trouble.
How believable was that?
When a reporter asked if he was sorry for the people he hurt, the Reverend said he never expressed sorrow or remorse for any of it.
But he was only sorry for the fact that he got in trouble for it.
Trouble.
He got caught.
Yeah.
So he's sorry for getting caught.
Yeah.
Psychopath.
which is a terrifying idea, especially at the time. He's not sorry for the people he hurt, he's sorry for himself, which was terrifying at the time. And I think why so many, this is the perfect example of a killer with no remorse for who he had harmed and what he had done. And people became fascinated with this idea that your next door neighbor
Mm-hmm.
could be this.
Mm-hmm.
So, DA Earl Clean and Ed's attorney were locked in a public battle over how the case should proceed legally because there was a lot of things happening. Since the plea of not guilty by reason of insanity was placed, William Bettler was pushing for him to be examined by a private psychiatrist as soon as possible. And he was like, we have to get the evidence now because they were like, he might shut down completely and not give answers.
Exactly.
Butler told the press the important question is whether Ed is insane now and not in 3 or 5 or 10 years. Kylene, though, was pushing for a speedy trial. Gein went in front of Judge Bundy few weeks later, and somehow Clean changed his stance. Because when Ed's team put not guilty by reason of insanity, because remember, Kylene was like, he's not insane. He can stand trial like a normal person.
Yeah.
Kylene, when Ed's team put a not guilty by reason of insanity, the DA recommended he be seen by a psychiatrist at the Central State Hospital before going forward with the trial. So he changed his mind. He went, yeah, we're going to send him to a psychiatrist,
Oh,
a
wow.
state psychiatrist,
Right.
right? Which people thought was weird because they felt that he would get time in a hospital and then get away from murder. What they were worried about was Ed was faking being insane, and that he would go to jail he would go to an institution for 3 to 5 years, and then he'd be magically cured in those 3 to 5 years, and then he would get to walk the streets again.
And then just start all over.
Exactly. So people are scared of this now.
Yeah.
And so Kylene couldn't ignore the fact that what had happened on the farm was insanity, and no one had seen it before. So Judge Bundy agreed and ordered an examination. Now, there was no question he had murdered the 2 women and he would be punished.
Mm-hmm.
The DA also had to figure out how to punish him for the other bodies because they were dug up or he murdered them and they were all his victims.
Regardless,
They
he
didn't
did
know.
it.
Yeah, they didn't know how to prosecute
Mm.
them. A lot of people thought because he looked weak and he looked frail, he couldn't dig up the bodies because his bodies couldn't handle it. So they believed he killed a lot more because of that.
Mm.
That instead of digging up and using the physical exertion, because you've seen a photo of him, he does look frail and weak.
Yeah, he does. He does look pretty skinny.
So they needed to figure out how. And Oshara County was small, and this big case was actually causing the county financial strain. And the Gein investigation threatened to eat up most of the county's budget for the year. So they decided uh, that they couldn't. They were like, we're gonna burn through our thing, the remaining money we have left, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dig up all the bodies that have died in the past 5 years, and we're gonna see what's missing. We're gonna do all that.
Yeah.
You remember what month it is?
November, you said.
November. Wisconsin in November.
It's going to be hard ground. You can't really excavate.
Exactly. So they
really
can't do anything.
Yeah.
So
you have to wait till
they
March,
had to wait.
April.
Yeah.
March or April.
So when Ed was arrested, Kylene made a vow that Ed would never walk the streets again, and this idea of letting him be seen was scary to people because back in the day, this was how it went. You were arrested, they found you guilty by reason of insanity, they put you in a hospital. You stayed there till you were better, they fixed you, you could walk the streets again. So people were scared he would get fixed and then walk the streets. So they're still questioning Ed about the bodies, and he told them most of the women's names that he had dug up. And by early December, he named at least 7 women that he had dug up. Mm. Now, before Kylene opened the graves, State Crime Lab Chief Charles was like, hold on, let's not do that. We can determine scientifically if the graves have been molested. And Kylene responded with, people want to see the graves. They want to see with their own eyes, not that science determined this or that. They want proof. They want to see. Mm-hmm. Understandable. Yes, you could determine if soil has been altered.
With, yeah.
But he wanted, Kylene's not wrong. The people wanted proof. They wanted to see.
Yeah.
So while this argument's happening, Ed's taken to Central State Hospital at Waupun, and head psychiatrist Ed Schubert told reporters, "Our primary purpose is to determine the legal."
Somos. You got 10 minutes? We're recording too.
Girl
Scout cookies!
Girl Scout cookie season.
Yeah!
Time to spend all my money.
Justin says no.
So Edward Schubert told reporters, "Our primary purpose is to
We haven't
determine
started the pizzas yet. We will hear in a minute.
is to determine the legal question of Ed's sanity. We will do a full workup on him and find out why he has reacted in the way he has." Ed actually had a theory about why he did what he did, and he said that in 1945, his mom's still alive.
Okay.
You're gonna love this story.
Oh, story time.
Heads up, it has animal abuse in it.
No more story time.
He said in 1945, he and his mom had visited a neighbor's farm to purchase straw. And heads up, it's a fucked up story. So he watched a farmer kill a puppy, and that caused a woman to run out of the farmhouse, running hysterically, imploring for him to stop. And the scene upset Augusta, and it wasn't because he had just shot a puppy. Why would Augusta be mad about that? No. She was mad because the woman was not married to the farmer and should not have been in the house.
Out of all things. All things. Okay.
He claims seeing either the farmer's immorality and wickedness or the woman's immorality and wickedness. He said that caused Augusta's second stroke and eventually her death, which led him to violence.
Story time in.
Oh.
What? His mom should have been checked.
This is the stupid. You cannot say you did what you did, Ed, because my mom was upset because a woman was living with a man and she was upset that he had shot a puppy, and that caused my mom to get a stroke because of the immoralness of the woman and the man living together and they weren't married.
Maybe she had the stroke because the puppy got shot.
No, she was not upset about that.
No, she wasn't at all.
She was upset about the woman living with the man and they weren't married.
And they weren't, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's what Mom was thinking.
Sinners!
Yeah, that's
show you.
That's
I heard Michelle and John are living together and they're not married. Sinners!
That's very much Augusta.
Yeah. Good job. Good portrayal.
Good portrayal.
Scene from Psycho, folks.
Now, when I first heard this story, I thought it was going in the direction of the dude shot the puppy and he got excited because how many times have we seen that?
Yeah.
But no, I was not expecting that.
Me neither, because I would be more upset about the puppy.
But Ed also said when he was 8, he walked into a shed on the farm and saw his dad preparing a pig, and he had hung it up like Bernice, and he said he was excited to watch the butchering of the pig.
I would not be.
Yeah.
Poor Wilbur.
Ed's self-diagnosis did kind of help see his actual motive. Yes. Okay.
Well.
And that was that women were responsible for every.
I love the epic fail in that. That was so good. He's like, if I watch myself, I won't make it.
Hermione.
That was so funny. He's like, I'll go down far. Nope, it's my forehead. He tries so hard not to be in these, and we're trying to find ways
to not.
This is why we would like a house. That's how we were doing it before, and then I became uncomfortable sitting that way. That's got popped off. That's why we find a house with an extra room.
So Ed's self-diagnosis did kind of help see his actual motive, and that was women were responsible for everything bad in the world, and they are wicked, immoral, manipulative, and they want to ruin you. And that's also What did Augusta teach him at a young age?
Yeah, pretty much.
Augusta taught him that, and it has stuck with him for the rest of his life.
Psycho.
Butler told reporters he blames the women. He blames the women, or he blames the woman. So he blames either women or women.
Mm-hmm.
Now immediately after he was admitted to Central State Hospital, tests began, and they would take a month to get the results back. And they were physical tests, his blood, his body, physiological function, all of those, and they came back normal for a 51-year-old man.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he's 51 years old.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the normal.
Yeah, everything came back normal. Despite the fact he was normal, he found them to be frustrating and daunting, and he frequently whined about having better to do things and how he had a headache and nausea, and he always said he needed a wheelchair.
Give you a wheelchair.
I'll break your legs.
You don't need no legs.
He also said there was a lot of offensive smells in the hospital. And my first thing was, when I first heard that, I was like bleach, like cleanliness, like is that the offensive smell?
Yeah.
And when they had asked,
There was a bowel movements that people did.
and another
Poop.
thought of process was, Ed, you're surrounded by dead bodies. You were surrounded by dead bodies.
Your nose is so good. It stays in your nose.
But that's the thing. I was like, Ed, you were surrounded by dead bodies. What offensive smell could there be, right?
Hence why in the Silence of the Lambs, I even asked her. She goes, "Oh, Vicks." I'm like, they're putting it under their nose, and I'm like, oh no. In my head, thinking you only do that when it's, and then that's when she was saying they did that, so the dead body that they were
The
exhuming,
smell
the
doesn't.
smell wouldn't get in your nose.
Yeah. So the doctors asked him, they're like, what does it smell like? Because he's like, it smells bad in here.
Farted.
And he said, it smells like flesh.
Live
Now,
flesh?
well, that's the thing. Now, I have heard that once you smell something dead, it sticks in your nose.
Right.
Hence the Vicks you see officers put under nose, so
Right.
it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
So maybe he got used to the smell of bodies in his home. You know how sometimes we have a terrible smell, we get used to the terrible smell?
Yeah.
Maybe he got used to it, and now that he's no longer in it in a normal environment, the smell is so stuck in his nose, he was still smelling it.
You kind of deserve that, dude, because you did this crap to yourself.
So that is actually, we're going to end it, because we are going to go into what the psychological tests proved. So at this point, we have talked about how all the horrible things they found in his house. Actually, I think there are people who are still like, there's somebody who took a photo of a lampshade inside their house, and they're like, doesn't this lampshade look a little weird to you? And they lived in Wisconsin, and they said, yeah, it was like my great grandma got this lamp.
Sure, it's not your great grandma.
Well, no,
what?
because
they think of that they bought it.
Well, that's the thing we're gonna find out is Ed Gein's house became a museum.
Okay.
And the house.
Hopefully they didn't leave stuff in there. Did they leave things in there?
It said that they did. It said that you could see the bloodstains on the floor.
You can't find the nipple belt.
I think things like that they took, but let's say they overlooked the lamp because the lamp looked okay. Yeah, people were like, do you live near Plainsfield, my guy?
Yeah.
And they're like, my great grandma did. And they're like, great grandma must have stolen something.
Yeah, because that's not a normal lamp.
Yeah, so we've talked about that. We're going to talk, so in the upcoming thing, we're going to talk about the psychological test, which is going to help make sense of a lot of, it's going to make a little bit sense of Ed Gein. Okay. We're going to talk about, because he does go to trial for his crime, so we are going to talk.
Yeah, we're watching you, escape artist. So we have to watch Tataro because she now likes to go outside.
She just walks outside.
She just walks outside.
We're going to talk about, because he does go to trial, so we're going to talk about that. Oh, we're going to talk about what happens to his gravestone.
Oh.
What happens to his headstone.
Is the pizza unwrapped or is it still in the box?
It's still in the box. Still unwrapped.
Okay.
Okay. And then we are going to talk about the movies
Yes.
in the next episode.
Yes.
So tune in, part 3.
Yes.
We're gonna
go have some pizza.
have some pizza, question life choices, and we're gonna come back and talk about the psychology of Ed Gein.
Yes.
My name's Ed Gein. Yeah.
And then we're gonna talk about his trial. But yeah, have a nice night, guys.
Yes.
See you next week. Come in next week to get the conclusion of the 3-part series of Ed Gein.
Yes.
If you really, really, really want to, watch Psycho and Silence of the Lambs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
If you
See
feel
what we're seeing. Connect the dots that we're connecting.
because there's a lot of
There's
dots
a
have
lot.
been connected
There's a lot of
since I've
dots
watched
being
those movies.
connected.
Since I've watched both of those
Hey,
movies.
Michelle, what would you rate?
We're not on
Psycho?
episode
We're not on that.
3.
Oh, okay.
We're doing that in the next. We're doing that in the next episode.
Yeah.
We said because what we have left should not be long to where we can.
Yeah. It's
get
only
into
like
detail.
3 pages.
Like get into detail. You're such a nerd.
So yeah.
Okay, guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
We will see ya.
Definitely don't want to be ya. Ow,
No.
that hurt.
Allow her to go to the bathroom. Quit picking on her.
Yeah. Okay.